to the targeting systems.
Hey guys, this is Danny Boy. So our job is to defend this missile battery. And this was not an easy task by any means. The very first wave goes pretty well. Second wave, the second part of it, forget if it's divided into 2 or 3 parts. I think it's 3 parts. The second part is where things started getting dicey. The main issue being Banshees. I have a lot of trouble quickly killing Banshees with my current loadout and build. And there are so many Banshees in this freaking fight. It's like 5 or more. I don't even know. It seemed like there was 10,000 of them. Just never ended. This wasn't too bad. This is just a few guys kind of streaming gradually. And this rubble area back here with the missile trucks and everything is pretty good cover for just charging and then quickly getting safe. So I didn't have too much trouble surviving. But later on I have a lot of trouble surviving. But to talk about this total playthrough, and this has been a long, long playthrough. By the end of this, I think we're going to be at 108 episodes, something like that. This is by far the largest series I have ever done. 108 episodes. And I am very glad that it will be done. I'll be even happier when it's all uploaded. But this was a tremendous undertaking. Huge number of hours went into making this. Just getting the gameplay took a huge number of hours, much less the editing and the voiceover and everything else, the rendering. But I'm glad I did it. I did learn a bunch of things from it. Didn't know these guys would be spawning right here. Actually, it was kind of convenient because there was three or four guys all just grouped together, which made them very easy pickings. Wouldn't have been so fortunate on another class, I think, depending on different factors. But I learned some things, as I was saying, just editing things and other general lessons about doing this. I really haven't been doing this for very long. I only started taking it seriously about a month and a half ago or so. I'm still very new at this. And I'm glad for that. It was so much work, though. So much work. So exhausting. If I never play a Vanguard again, it will be too soon. I am so done with the Vanguard. So done. And yet, I am so excited to actually start my next playthrough. I am really looking forward to it. Somehow, I am really looking forward to it. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys just found it entertaining. People have watched it, which is good. That's certainly a good thing. People have watched it. And I thought, you know, what happens if I charge up here? This might be interesting. And the second I charged up here, the Banshee came. Literally. It's like, why? Why do you hate me? What did I do? This wave had pretty much just started, though. This was a bit of trial and error. A bit of experimentation. And I thought that I should be over here, but I think in the end I give up on that idea. Even one Banshee with backup for me right now is a huge undertaking to take out in any reasonable amount of time. Just bursting her down. I think I might actually wind up resorting to the Hydra missile launcher. There is a Hydra missile launcher here. I did know that it was here from my engineer playthrough. I know exactly where it is. And I don't know when I grab it, but I will not be saving it for the final wave, which maybe I should have. I don't know. Not sure if I would have done this differently in the end. Well, I certainly would have not used the Valkyrie on this fight. That's for sure. To be honest, probably my best choice for this mission would have just been a high-powered sniper rifle, or pistol, or the saber, something like that. Would have probably been my best choice, as long as it didn't knock my cooldown too low. Like, I don't know how hard just using the Widow, and just the Widow, nothing else, would have affected my cooldown, but if I still just had 80 to 100%, I would have been okay. And that was my biggest issue, just dealing with hard targets quickly. I could use powers to just deal with all the other guys. But if I just had a tool to deal with hard targets and just finish them and burst them down, that would have made this so much easier. The entire thing. The whole, like, 3 hours that it took to go through Earth. Probably would have been a lot more enjoyable as well. The first part where I used the Claymore wasn't a big deal. For just that reason, the Claymore is very good at dealing with hard targets quickly. But this second part was just miserable. And again, I'm afraid to charge. I'm afraid now that she's going to kill me. Which just sucks. Really sucks. That was convenient, though. A guy showed up next to her so I could get a quick biotic detonation off. And yeah, charge failed. I don't know what that was about. I think there's a second Banshee now. That's great. Yep, there is. And another thing was just my party member choice wasn't great. And here I die. You know, what can you do? What can you do? Sync kill and death. I have no idea what determines whether or not she sync kills you. I always do the same thing. I always immediately roll backwards, but sometimes it just doesn't work. And that sucks. I might be doing it wrong, that's quite possible, but if it is entirely random, then it's bad design. Because that should not, of all the things that can be random, that's not one of them. Either charge always works, or it never works. It doesn't work some of the time, and then random chance, sometimes it fails. This is where I say, you know, I am legitimately pissed right now. Rockets in your face. Expletive deleted. Oh, this fight. So I'm just waiting. Trying some different positioning. But yeah, my party members, if I had party members that had anti-armor abilities, good ones, proximity mine is not very good. It pretty much sucks in that regard. It's really more for dealing with groups of weaker red bar opponents and just regular guys, not actual big enemies. Or area denial, you know, just to prevent the AI from flanking you, and it's great for that, but otherwise, no. If I had Edie with her amazing Incinerate, or Liara with Warp, even, you know, Javik, anybody, not anybody, but James with Carnage, but I had been using Garrus and Tally as my party members for consistently for a number of missions now, especially, obviously, Garrus. You know, I used him throughout the entire game once I got him, and I wanted to finish the game with him. I wanted to see their dialogue stuff and epilogue and whatever. Not that there's really any epilogue, which sucks, but I am looking forward to the extended cut. I didn't really care too much before. I'm starting to care more and more. The more times I beat the game, I am becoming more jaded about the whole thing and disappointed. Really don't want to talk about this, because people all have their opinions, and every time I voice an opinion, 20 people decide to dislike one of my videos if they disagree with me. But it is what it is. The ending is what it is. I certainly do not mind that they're adding an extended cut, but I understand those that do, because it is going to use a significant amount of resources to do so, unless they actually had it all planned and they thought there would be an outcry. I have a feeling that some people did think there would be an outcry. Probably a lot of people. None of these things are generally, and yeah, yay, 2 Banshees. This sucks. They're not just unplanned for. I mean, these are huge, multi-million-dollar companies. They have contingencies set into place. They might have been planning an extended cut all along to extend this. I think that, if anything, the outcry, and here I just did not expect that Banshee to get that close to me that quickly, literally just completely snuck up behind me, did not hear her at all, and just instantly kills me, so rage. Bloody rage. But anyway, if anything, the huge player outcry, maybe it just sped up how quickly they were going to release the extended cut. Maybe they were planning on doing it later and they had more DLC planned, other DLC, but now the extended cut has been bumped up in their schedule, and that does kind of suck. Limited resources and everything, and that means less weapons, less new characters, new missions, whatever. You can't please everybody, I guess, but I am looking forward to the extended cut. I think I would have rather had a new set of weapons or something first that I could use in the single player. All really moot though anyway, because by the time that stuff comes out, I won't have time to play the game anymore because I'll be playing other stuff. For the most part. Hopefully I'll have a little time to peek in every now and then and show some of the DLC. I'm not going to just abandon the game entirely, don't get me wrong. If something major happens, I will do my best to cover it, but it will no longer be a huge priority for the most part. We'll see how things go about. Right now, I'm trying to determine, should I save the missile launcher? Should I use the missile launcher? What should I do? How do I deal with this? I'll just use it. I wanted her to get really close to absolutely ensure that all the missiles hit her and nobody else. I want her to die right now. Die right now. I also didn't remember exactly when the final part happens where you just need to run to the missiles and shoot them and that's it, the game's over sort of thing. So I didn't know if I had to kill all the Banshees or what. To be quite honest, I don't have a great strategy for this. Even now, I don't really know exactly what to do. I do know that going over here is probably the best idea because you have a lot of cover here, and it's difficult for the enemy to get a good line of fire on you. You also have a lot of room to maneuver when the Banshees actually close. And it's harder for your party members to get killed if they're all over here. The biggest thing is just ensuring that you don't get killed by the Banshee instantly when she closes, and also ensuring you don't get flanked by the Marauders. And at this point, I am just terrified of the Banshee. I will not die. It's not happening again. Screw you. Piss off. No. Bad touch. Bad, dirty touch. The one advantage I do have is that my party members both have overload, essentially, which allows me to drain barriers really, really quickly. But draining barriers isn't really the hard part, it's the armor that's the hard part. And I would love to just go over there and charge and Nova her, but I can't afford it at this point. I can't die. So again, as far as the ending debate goes, as my opinion with a lot of things, I understand both perspectives. I understand the people that were pissed, because, quite frankly, and I did very briefly mention this, the ending does seem lazy. It seems lazy. Actually, you know what? That's not fair. Saying it's lazy, that's not fair. They're not lazy. Gaming companies aren't lazy. When gaming companies push out games, especially AAA titles, they work their freaking asses off. I'm talking however long you work in a week, unless you're an Alaskan crab fisherman or something, they probably work more. They sleep at their offices, and this can take months. And in some cases, years, depending on the game and depending on the company. If you have not heard of EA Spouse, I highly recommend you Google it and look at it. And some of the other things that have happened to the industry over the years. I don't know what game was being worked on, but I think it was either Battle for Middle-earth 1 or Battle for Middle-earth 2 of all things. The evil development crunch where they just never get to sleep, they don't get paid overtime, and all that crap. Calling them lazy is incredibly unfair and insulting, so I'm not going to say it was lazy. What I think happened is it's just simply a tremendous amount of work in order to make every single one of your decisions in the game when they already put a ton of work into whether or not your decisions in previous games actually make a difference, and they do to an extent. I mean, it determines what people you encounter in the third game, if nothing else, which is a pretty big deal. To have to do 2 voice actors for every single instance where you would either have somebody from a previous game there, or if they were dead, we now have a new person. I mean, that's a lot of work. So, and a lot of time and a lot of resources. So, they had to just, and also to balance the combat and try to make the combat engaging and make it a shooter, but also an RPG and focus on story. They just had so much stuff going on. And quite frankly, in order to get everything in, to make every single choice really matter and have everything else work and so on and so on, the game probably would have had to have been in development for at least another year. At least 1 more year, maybe even 2 years. But there comes a point in time, and every development studio makes this decision, where they just need to get the game out. They have to get the game out. And you might say, evil publishers, they should let them have all the time in the world that they want, and whatever. But that's just not how the world works. That isn't how things work. Publishers have shareholders, and shareholders demand a return on their investment. And that's just how things are. And when they don't get a return on their investment, they sell. And when they sell, it just starts a chain reaction of bad times for the company. So that's just how things are. We don't live in a world where development studios can have 10 years to work on a game to make these perfect masterpieces. And it sucks, but such is life. Alright guys, well here's a little plot. We'll be back for the final part of this fight.
Did it hit?
What happened?
The Reaper is still too close to the beam.
We're down to 2 missiles.
And we haven't even scratched it.
You will need to allow the Reaper to move out of the beam's influence.
And closer to us.
Commander, Hammer's being overrun at every turn. Reaper ground forces are converging on your location. We're fighting our way to you. Hold on, Commander. Hold on.
Keela, how can there be more of them?
Hold on, everyone. We can do this.